Good afternoon. I'm Shannon Rutherford, the town planner for Farmington. And I will start with a roll call of the Historic District Commission members. I've got Jim Calciano,
Here.
Joanne Lawson,
Here.
Michelle Phelan,
Here.
Jay Bombara,
Here.
and Ted Sanford.
Here.
I will note for the record that regular commission member Peter Mastrobatista is absent and alternates Liz Gemsky and Henry Pertil are absent.
Okay, in
So
that
you can
case, I will
seat
appoint
one.
Ted Sanford as to be the permanent member for the purposes of this meeting. I'm Jay Bombara, Chairman of the Historic District Commission, and I will convene the meeting and call to order. And I'll ask Michelle to read in the items for public hearing.
Notice is hereby given that the Farmington Historic District Commission will hold a hybrid in-person and online public hearing on Tuesday, July 21, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the Town Hall Annex Council Chambers, 1 Monteith Drive on the following applications. Firm LLC application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace oil tank and install, that's Quinoco, right?
Yes.
Well, to replace oil tank and install screening panel at 772 Farmington Ave. Scott Tierney, Joy Susan, application for temporary certificate of appropriateness for a new sign at 769 Farmington Ave. Interested parties are encouraged to participate in this hybrid public hearing. Participation in person is at Town Hall Annex, Town Council Chambers, 1 Monteith Drive, or online participation is via the link to the meeting on the Town of Farmington's website at the link provided. A copy of this proposal is available online at the link provided or by calling the planning department at 860-675-2325. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, the 2nd day of July, 2026.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will convene the first public hearing, which is Firm LLC. Bruce, I see you're online. If you want to introduce yourself, state your name and address for the record, and give us a presentation on what your application is for.
Certainly. My name is Bruce Hunter. I am the owner of the property at 772 Farmington Avenue. It's held underneath the name of Firm FIRM LLC. My address for purposes of this is 772 Farmington Avenue. Thank you for going to this page, but in brief, what happened was, by the way, good afternoon, all of you, and thank you for serving on the board. In brief, this is a two-phased application, which is to replace the older 275 gallon tank, which is where whoever it is that's controlling this is scanning through, and put in a 330 gallon tank, and then to put a cover over it. What happened was here with Quinoco had made a offer $500 off getting a replacement tank. And so we did a search to see whether or not a horizontal tank could be put in. And could you stop at that page, please, just for a minute? Because on this page, which is the first photograph on page 10 of 12, the bottom photograph on that page. So if you scroll down just a little bit, thank you. You can see that the existing oil tank was exposed. You can see the rust on it. This enclosure was open for critters. Had accumulations of all sorts of leaves and debris that would flow in, almost impossible to get out of this tank. And this is the only place that a tank can be on this property other than underground, which basically we don't want to do that. So this 275 gallon tank was put in probably 20 some odd years ago. And the bollards were in place. The bollards were originally set in sleeves set in concrete. And when Cadwell, well, I'm sorry, Quinelco had the special deal that they made a inquiry on my behalf to see whether or not you can get a 330-gallon tank that met the criteria and was also horizontal. There were two in the country east of the Mississippi. And based on that timing, I said, please proceed. And I apologize to the commission that I should have gone through the appropriate steps to prior to getting this done. As time was of the essence, and locking down, getting the replacement tank, I worked with and probably ignorance on my part, which is no excuse. I contracted with Quinelco to get the new tank put in, and relatively lickety split it was in. And then if you scroll down a little further to the next page, you can see where the new tank was installed and the bollards were put in place, and the siding was put in. And then on page 12 of 12, you can see where the finished product is. And basically what we did is it's the newest tank that you can get. That's a 275. It's not technically double walled, but it is double lined on the bottom, and also has a special coating on the outside. And I felt it was really important to protect it. The bottom photograph on that page shows the bollards in place, and so Shannon was nice enough to actually check it, and originally the bollards hadn't been reinstalled, and I made sure that they in fact were put back in place. The description of the work that's to be done is on page 2 of 2. And then that's of this exhibit. Essentially, replace the 275 with a new 330, putting a bollard, taking the bollards out and putting them back in. And then if you go to page 9 of 12, is putting on the siding to match the existing, and it's an area of 9 feet wide by 3 feet and a third high, and it's 6-inch wide tongue and groove 3/4 pine board siding installed and painted to match the existing. All the details, I believe everybody probably has had an opportunity to read the material that's there, and with that, I'm happy to entertain any questions that any of the commission members may have.
Thanks, Bruce. I'll start. Joanne, do you have any questions or comments for the applicant?
Yeah, I have no questions.
Jim?
No questions. I think it's replacing what was there, maybe a slightly bigger tank, but the 330 tank is a much more, it's a much better tank to have.
Michelle?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No questions.
Is there anybody?
If I may add
Go ahead.
to this as well, I just remembered that aesthetically, I believe it's a real improvement to the property.
Right. If I recall, Bruce, before it was exposed, right? You could see the tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. In fact, I just happened to drive by it on the way here, and I looked up quickly because you got to be careful, but it looked good. Shannon, or actually, is there anybody that's here in the audience that has any questions or comments? Shannon, can you poll online?
Sure. If anyone's called in to offer comment regarding the application at 772 Farmington Avenue, please raise your hand using the feature in Zoom, and you'll be acknowledged to address the commission. Again, if anyone's called in regarding the application at 772 Farmington Avenue, please raise your hand using the feature in Zoom to address the commission. Mr. Chair, there's no hands raised.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion on the application?
I'll make a motion to approve the application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace the oil tank and install screening panel at 772 Farmington Avenue. And should we mention that the screening panel matches the existing siding? Does it matter?
We can just say as presented.
Oh, as
That's fine.
presented, sure.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Great. You're all set, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I apologize to the commission that I should have, in all likelihood, gone through the appropriate steps, and I apologize. I'm going to step out. Thank you all very much. I hope you have a great rest of the summer.
Thanks,
Thank
Bruce.
you.
Okay, now we're on to our second public hearing, which is Scott Tierney for Joy Susan. Yes, if you can come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then make a presentation about your application.
Hi, my name's Lauren Rosen, and I own Artifacts. We are a sign and architectural fabrication company located in Bloomfield. And I'm here on behalf of Scott Tierney and the store Joy Susan, moving into 769 Farmington Avenue. I'm going to pretty much paraphrase what I spoke to the Planning and Zoning Commission about. I did not design the sign, although it was presented to me and I thought it was appropriate, and I felt comfortable representing the sign as is without any changes. We did add gooseneck lights because I think it should light at night and at least I think until an hour after the store closes, which is the town regulation. Joy Susan will be a boutique selling handbags, accessories, hats, and jewelry. Though they're locally designed, the product is known throughout the United States and through Amazon globally. They've gotten pretty popular. On behalf of Joy Susan, we're asking for a roof-mounted sign because there exists no other logical spot for a sign that won't be blocked by SUVs, vans, or trucks. The positioning allows vehicular occupants to safely identify the store, if you see from this shot. It's 16 square feet within regulation, scaled appropriately to the building. It occupies the lowest section of the roof, which meets the building front just above the door and windows. So in this case, there is no sign ban for a traditional fascia mounted sign. Our request is based on historic precedent in that a rooftop sign was featured in the exact same spot for many years by a previous tenant, the Renaissance Collection. In that sense, we're not asking for a new visual element. It's been there before. Additionally, the sign would be in descending alignment with Hartford Baking Company to the south and Brickwalk Dentistry to the north, so it contours the topography. The sign itself, and I'll talk more about materials in just a bit. This sign is made of expanded urethane with dimensional metal letters. Typically, we use aluminum. They are all finished in a low luster paint, which we use epoxy. It provides a conservative New England style appearance, no gloss to it. Lighting is with a traditional gooseneck overhead fixture. There are three, 3000 Kelvin. Incandescent is 2700, so it's in the ballpark. Generating no more than 900 lumens per fixture for a total of 2700 lumens. And that will give an even spread of light without hot spots or shadows. We've done this a few times, so I've learned by mistake. The beams will overlap. And we hope you will consider this proposal. We feel it will be in keeping with the flavor of the immediate environment and general flavor of the town. We talk about materials and we think about wood when we think about tradition and colonial times. In 1987, I designed a sign and we erected a sign for Miss Porter's, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And at the time we erected it, we used mahogany, 2-inch thick mahogany, which is a good wood for exterior use. It stayed there until 2015. Miss Porter's took the liberty to change the post a bit. I wasn't in favor of, but it still looks okay. But at the time, because we had repainted the sign twice and we're going on to a third time, and there was some degradation to the material itself, we decided to go over to this expanded urethane, which essentially is a dense foam. In this case, we would use 20-pound material, which means that a square foot of the material weighs 20 pounds. A similar material you might see that's 4-pound is a type of expanded urethane that you would put silk flowers into that kind of crumbles when you touch it. So this is on the opposite end. If you drop it on your foot, it hurts. It's dense. Since we put up the new Miss Porter sign, we haven't touched it. The paint's in perfect shape, the epoxy that we used. And that's why we elected to use it here. It stays rigid. It doesn't warp. And with aluminum, it doesn't go anywhere. I had suggested a dimensional letter. I think it's a little more engaging. However, if you went back to colonial times, and let's say this building is an imitation of something from 1750, with the central chimney approximated by the cupola. At that time, signs were made of eastern white pine or white oak. And signs came in 3 forms, four forms, or the freestanding, typically a tavern style sign with 1 arm. Quite commonly, there was what was called a shingle or a blade sign. There were wall mounted signs and there were roof mounted signs. So where the sign appeared wasn't so consequential at the time. Color wise, you'd see it in a whitewash, which was lime based, made with chalk and lead and water. So it's kind of an off white. More often than not, the lettering was in black, which was made with a charred animal bone and linseed oil. Occasionally it had accents, red, iron oxide, or clay mixed into linseed oil, and also ochre, which is earth yellow, which is also clay, at the time skim milk, lime, and linseed oil. And everything was in a very low luster finish. So the lettering, if you went back to say 1750, was more often than not a serif style where it has spurs. It was kind of folklorish in the sense that it was laid out by hand. There were no computers, of course. It was painted by hand. So it had kind of an uneven look, which at the time was acceptable. In today's world, we look for perfection. And that's what we're known for. We try to make perfect signs. So in the case of Joy Susan, I hope you'll see the signs appropriate. The roof mount, I think, is in relation to the building, the size of the building, and the other two buildings that are along with it. So we hope you will approve it as is.
Thank you. Ted, do you want to start? Any questions or comments?
First, I'll say very good presentation. Helpful information. I really don't have any questions. I don't object to it. So
Michelle?
Yeah, I too, thank you very much for such a great presentation. It really is, it was wonderful to hear. And I don't
Thanks.
have any questions either.
I think the sign is fine. My only question is, are other signs, I don't recall the other signs are lit on the other buildings, are they?
I think they are in to the north, if I'm not mistaken. There were a couple of goosenecks that maybe pointed up. We did
Might be some
Hartford
window.
baking, and there was no lighting.
My only question would be, we've had so much comment
Sure.
on ambient lighting moving around. So, and he told us how much those lumens are. Does that meet?
Yeah, it's
It does.
definitely within
Okay, 'cause-
acceptable
yeah.
requirements, and at the 3,000
Right.
Kelvin color temperature,
Yeah.
it'll be a nice warm light as opposed to
Okay,
that
good. Yeah.
harsh bright light.
Yep.
And they've agreed to have the lighting turn off an hour after closing, so I don't really think
Yeah,
it's going to be problematic at
The
this location.
positioning looks good. Everything looks good on it. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Joanne?
Yeah, of course, I do have a few questions. So I read through the packet that you submitted and it said non-electric, non-illuminated roof sign. So that's incorrect.
That is incorrect because it is illuminated.
Okay,
And
so
we forget that in our trade, non-illuminated to us means not internally illuminated.
Backlit.
So it has to be
yeah,
taken back and represented as externally illuminated.
okay. So I don't want to make a
And then-
motion to say.
No, and I think that, so initially, the initial application and information that came through, this is the third version of it, so that's why, so this is the third and final, this is what went to TPZ last Monday night and
Okay.
is what is being presented, so
Okay,
I think that's perhaps, there was a little bit of an evolution, I think there was perhaps something done like with an online vendor, and then with some initial feedback, realized that something a little more robust was going to be needed in order to appropriately move.
Yeah, so
forward.
in the interim phase, to add to that,
Hmm.
there were two lights that were pointing up, kind of kitty corner,
I think that's on the original, right? So these were the original. when you
or
go back
pointing
to-
down, I'm sorry,
This is.
speaking from memory. And
it
I
had
I
been
told Scott that
2002.
I didn't think it was appropriate.
okay. And it also states that it's made of aluminum composite materials,
No,
but
so that-
it's,
That's the old, so again, this was updated. I had sent everybody an updated
oh,
email
I didn't put
yesterday.
it up. Okay,
I sent everybody an updated email
Yeah,
yesterday.
and I would be
Okay.
wary of that aluminum composite material.
I was too.
It's far different from the expanded urethane.
Okay.
So an aluminum composite material you may have heard of as brand names, Alucobond, Alpolic, Vitrabond, and it's let's see, 020 aluminum on each side with a hard plastic in the center, typically 4 mil. Sign industry, either 3 mil or 6 mil, and everybody sneaks 3 mil in, and it's just okay.
Okay. One other question, just for Mike. So looking at the one with the Renaissance, you could see there's a little gap between the sign and the actual roof. And when I look at the Joy Susan, it looks like the sign comes down to the roof, which means leaves won't be able to get through, or water or ice, right? Is that going to be a problem for you?
No, we have ours pitched up. If you look at the side section, let's take a look. It's up about, I mean, you're looking at the roof bracket, but
Yeah.
there are three. So it's up about 2.5 inches
Oh,
at the
okay.
front end.
Okay, that's just.
Yeah,
wondering.
so that should be
That's gonna a
sufficient.
Big mess. Okay. And sorry, Shannon, but I was unable to see the minutes from the zoning meeting. Was there anything that
That's
we need
because
to
it went
know?
5.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
On this,
those minutes are still being completed because I have the joy of doing those.
So
So,
sorry, but
uh,
other
so
than
there
the
were no
irrigation-
conditions. There was no issues with TPZ. They
All
were
right.
fine with it as presented.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. Those are my only questions. Thanks.
so, like Joanne, I apologize. I guess you sent it updated and I went right
Correct,
over my
and
head.
it was
Could-
updated on the website as well. So the
Okay.
updated information was updated on the website.
Can you,
and
yeah, just go like scroll up to the application just so I can,
I don't
Oh, you don't
have
have
it with me because this is the
All right.
final. So the
I'll take your word for it.
application
I saw.
for, hang on, I can get
Yeah.
to it.
my other question was just going to be the lights themselves. I mean, we're approving those.
So correct, it's the whole thing.
like to
So
see
the,
those
this is all the
briefly.
final information. The application, other than, the only thing relevant on the application is the owner's name and contact info.
Okay.
So everything else, because the sign material has changed to be this as presented. And the prior application had no illumination, internal or external. So all the illumination information is here. Gooseneck lighting, quantity 3,000 Kelvin,
Right.
900 lumens each.
So is that, and I apologize for my ignorance, is it, so gooseneck lighting, is that the
It's
style
the
of lamp?
shape,
Yeah.
right? Because it looks like.
Yeah, I know it
so it's
goes
gonna
over,
hook. It's
but-
gonna hook and it's coming direct.
So we're
So
not,
it's the style as opposed to a light bar. So the
Right.
gooseneck is the shape and
Right.
style of the light.
but even the shade itself, we're okay with, we don't need to see more on that, or was that?
So the-
presented?
Shape, so you're looking to get
Yeah.
like an actual manufacturer. We don't have a manufacturer spec sheet of the light.
I can tell you a bit about it. It's a 6-inch dome, circular diameter at the bottom. Has a porcelain finish. The beam is 45. It's somewhere between a spot and a wash. The gooseneck itself is aluminum. It's 1-inch diameter circular. And it will be painted epoxy black with just an eggshell sheen, a slight sheen. Typically, we manufacture our own strip lighting. And I didn't think it was appropriate here, but it is a good form of lighting because we're able to control the beam exactly, perfectly rectangular, perfectly geared for the 2x8 or 2x10 or whatever have you. So this is based on a little bit of speculation, but a lot of experience. And I think it'll look smart up there.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem. And if the shades are going to look basically what we're seeing, they're certainly fine. I just wanted to make sure. Anybody else have any questions about the lighting? No? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment or have any questions or comments? Okay, Shannon, can you poll?
Sure. If anyone's called in online to offer comment on the application for 769 Farmington Avenue, please raise your hand using the feature in Zoom and you'll be acknowledged to address the commission. And if anyone's called in regarding the application for 769 Farmington Avenue, please raise your hand using the feature in Zoom. Mr. Chair, there's no hands raised.
Okay, no further questions or comments. May I have a motion on the application?
I'd like to make a motion to grant a temporary certificate of appropriateness for new lighting sign at 769 Farmington Avenue, application by Scott Tierney, Susan Joy. So Joy Susan.
Joyce.
I'll second.
I have a second, I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All set, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Shannon, if we could, do we get a written transcript? I'd love to get what the comments that were about old signage. Those are fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So if you think of it, don't prioritize it. I'd love to
I have a lot.
have that for my file.
I have a lot.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, so that's it for the public hearings. New business, anything we need to cover into there?
There is no new business. I do have planner's report item,
Okay,
which is
Right,
why
let's go to the staff report or planner's report.
So, 7 Church Street, landscaping and fencing. You may recall they were in May and we discussed fencing and the gutters for the property. And at the time, we were looking at a picket fence along the frontage. I say the frontage, the face that fronts Church Street parallel to the main house. And then there was a picket fence here next to the driveway facing out onto Hart Street. At this point in time, the Diesels, rather than having the fencing, would prefer just to expand the landscaping for the property. There are utilities on the west side of the house, so there is some screening that is going to be needed. So I think I'll start with the photos. My colleague Bruce Sear took some photos for me this morning so that they're from the street, so you're going to get a sense of the visibility of what's there on the side of the house. And then there's 2 options for additional landscaping. And the Diesels are here for questions if you want. So this is a straight on the, again, focusing on the east side of the house, but the front of the home and the east side. And as you come, we're going to zoom in on this and you're going to see the additional photos come around on this east side. So we've got, and they will zoom in. So this is just straight up standing in the road, no zoom on the camera. That's what's visible. This is standing at the edge of the property. And now we're starting to zoom it, walking in a little closer and starting to zoom in. So you can see we've got some meters on the side and really it's the AC unit at the back corner of the property. And then this is a more tight, this is zoomed in, right? So you're kind of right in on top of it. So it's not necessarily reflective of what you're seeing from the street. There's electric meter, some vents, and then the AC. So that's the visibility. Those are the utilities that we're trying to provide some screening for, again, really, perhaps really mostly the AC unit. So there are some plants, right? So some of these plants are in, so I'm assuming some of these I had labeled when I was going through. So we've got some winterberry, we've got holly, dogwood that's looking at being installed. So assuming there's a dogwood, we've got holly. And I think somewhere over here on the side, we've got the winterberry was on this side. So there's an option to add some shamrock inkberry, kind of at an angle to provide more of a screen. There's another option to add some white rhododendron. So that's what's before. So the intent is to, instead of having fencing as screening, and it wasn't going to be an opaque fence anyway, they were planning on I think it was a wrought iron or aluminum powder coated iron fence picket, 4 foot high. So it seems like a reasonable exchange. I don't know if the commission has a preference or has some thoughts or concerns on how visible or not. And then these are the fruit trees that are out at the front. I believe we've got a pair of 2 apple and 2 pear trees that were proposed. So that's what you're seeing in the near ground of those photos. So
Okay.
happy to entertain any questions. I'm sure
Yeah.
the Diesels would happy to answer any questions for you.
Joanne, do you have any questions or comments or opinions?
Yeah, it was the prices were recently here, I think, on Carrington, and they were adding something new and they were going to add some new plantings and we
Correct.
approved that. We thought it would look great. So I suspect it will look great here, but Mrs. Price pointed out that her plantings were not deciduous, so they would be evergreen, would,
Correct.
so I wanted to make sure whatever we're looking at would,
Which I believe the rhododendrons are.
Rhododendrons
So the rhododendrons are, I'd have to look up the inkberry.
They get big, which
The
is good.
inkberry get big,
They
or the
get
ro-
big. They're good.
oh,
but
They're
the
good. Good
inkberry are evergreen. Yes,
thank you. Yeah.
inkberry are evergreen.
That was my only-
So,
Do you have anything, Jim?
No, that whole lot is so beautifully landscaped. It's a pleasure to look at.
sure,
And there's all kinds of comments all over, people walking by.
great.
He's talking to the people all the time, but it came out well. So, yeah, good options there. So I'm good.
I think I was one of those with a mouthful. You're laughing, but the rhododendrons are green all year round and grow. You have to have a little patience with growth, but they grow pretty quickly. So I think they're a great plant. I always call them Mother Nature's thermometer. So
Yep.
I think that's good.
They fold up in the winter.
Yeah, you always know the temperature outside.
Yes, you do.
Ted, do you have anything you want to say?
Looks good to me. I actually think I prefer this over a fence, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted stole my words. I was gonna say the same thing. I think,
Okay.
the house is it's so nice the way it is. I think putting the fence on the side actually detracts, so I'm fine. And I
Okay.
guess we're hearing there's no
No
opinion. You
strong
do what you think
preference.
is best, and thank you again for being such careful people in the historic district and working with us. Yeah.
So we're good. All
Okay.
right, and no preference, so you're free to do whatever either option. Thank you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else on the staff report?
I do not have anything else
Okay.
for you.
Then the last item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the June 16, 2026 meeting, I believe that it should be. And I did read them and they seem fine to me. Anybody have any questions or comments or changes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 16th, 2026.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is passed. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.